We need to make a petition. Everyone, pull out your wallet, put as much money as you can on the table so that Homestead Miami can get a renovation to get back the championship race. Please, NASCAR, give back the race to Miami. Please. Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Jett. Welcome back to an episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop. Hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday. What a race it was in Miami, especially the second half of the race. Lots of stuff to talk about in this one. Let's not waste any time and jump right into it. We knew that this race was more likely going to be dominated by a couple of drivers, specifically Kyle Larson. In the beginning, it was the Toyota drivers up front of Bubba Wallace and Mark Truex Jr. Bubba had the lead, Truex was right behind him. They were swapping lead back and forth, some good solid racing. And then you had comers and goers. Once Truex took the lead from Bubba, Bubba dropped like a rock, and then Truex dropped like a rock, and Byron took over for the race lead. Then, like I said, lots of comers and goers throughout the field, which within the first 20 laps already made the race more entertaining than it will probably ever be in Phoenix in 2 weeks. Yeah, the first half of the race was pretty standard, kind of just get into the rhythm type of racing. When Holmes said tires are going to wear out easily within the first handful of laps, the lap times already fell off by about a second and a half. So you very quickly saw a lot of drivers just riding the wall. Brad Keselowski had the lead right after pit stops. Kyle Larson took over. Larson go on to win the stage. And it seemed as though that it would be a repeat of last year with Larson just killing the field. Stage 2 looked as if it was just going to be all Larson. And then Ryan Blaney, who entered into the point standings below the cut line. He was lucky with that DQ being removed from his name following last weekend at Vegas, but emerged out of nowhere. Even though he was strong in practice, I don't think anybody had him being a race-winning contender. But late in the race, Larson used up his tires. Blaney out of nowhere eats away at Larson's lead, past him like nothing, and Blaney goes on to win stage 2. And that's when we get to stage 3. Stage 3 started out with Blaney and William Byron now racing hard side by side. Blaney would prevail, jump out to a lead, but Larson was close behind. And then we get to probably one of the funniest things I've seen probably the entire season. Lap 2:13, Ryan Blaney and Larson, they're both come onto pit road. Larson is a pretty big gap behind Blaney, decides to just say, screw it, I'm gonna eat away at Byron's lead and more, goes up, runs into back of Blaney, and then runs into the tire barriers. He ran into the tire barriers. There was no need. He came in like a bat out of hell and ran into the tire barriers. I don't know if he was trying to release his inner Kurt Busch or trying to top off Matt Kenseth at Dover when he did that. But he was out of the race because of that. The car was damaged to the point where he was out of the race. Luckily, he did win last weekend at Vegas, so he was already automatically locked in. But you have to understand this. Yes, Blaney had a fast car, but with Larson, he was so far behind. Even if Blaney wasn't there, he was so fast, he would have gotten caught for speeding. Regardless, he was entering like 100 miles an hour, with 30 miles an hour faster or so than Blaney. There was no need to try and gain that much speed that early in the race. There was no need for that. And tell you what, Larson, he is a generational talent, but my God, can he do some stupid stuff. Like, the things that just like, bro, what was the point of that? Back off, like take a chill pill. Like there was, I'm sorry to Larson fans, but that's one of the funniest things I've seen all year long. There was no need for that. The interesting thing about this is that this was happening during green flag pit stops. Truex, who was already serviced from after his pit stop, when that caution came out, he was a lap down. So he got trapped a lap down, had to take the wave around, and was stuck to the very, very back of the field and was very upset on the radio, just because the whole day he was good at the beginning, but it just all went off the rails after that. Then right after that, restart happened with Blaney, Hamlin, and Byron, and then we had a crash right after with 44 laps to go in the race. 4 wide does not work. Chastain, Yaley goes hard into the inside wall. John Hunter Nemechek and Brad Keselowski all involved in this wreck. However, it's a good thing for Truex because he was able to get, the wave round. I shouldn't say get the wave round, but was able to get around all the lap cars and join with the lead lap cars when we got back to racing for the next restart. And then we got some more fantastic racing on the restart. You had Blaney and Hamlin side by side. Bell decides on the backstretch, you know what? I'm going to take on both of y'all. Swoops to the inside, takes a 3 wide, bam, 20 car out in front. And then Blaney and Hamlin, they try to kill each other. I mean, Hamlin was getting loose off the corner. The two were just either they made contact or were very, very close to making contact off the corner. Some very exciting, intense racing between those two. Blaney was not upset. And there's always that thing of karma. Hamlin probably got that because Hamlin was racing a little bit too aggressive with the 12th car. He did get by him, but then 2 seconds later, in turn 1, Hamlin enters the corner, steering brakes, Hamlin slams the outside wall hard. He is out of the race. And Blaney, this happened right in front of Blaney, and he was quoted as saying that as F you, dickhead. So, yeah, Blaney was not too happy with Hamlin and was very happy that Hamlin got crashed. So, yeah, well, the whole thing was very entertaining. But at the same time, while Hamlin crashed, went to pit road, went to go into the garage, at the same time his teammate, Martin Truex Jr., bad day goes from worse to god awful, please end me. He starts blowing up, blows an engine, and he's out of the race. It reminded me of Darlington, I think it was, where Truex was leading, I think. He blows an engine, and then right after, Kyle Busch blows an engine. Like things like that, where one Gibbs driver has an issue, and then right after that, another Gibbs driver has an issue. Or Bristol also last year, same thing. But it was the last 20 laps, that 20 lap sequence from Larson hitting the barriers to then what happened between Blaney and Hamlin to then Truex and Hamlin. The race went from 50 to 100 real quick. And then in the closing laps, you had some very solid racing. With 25 laps to go, the restart happened with William Byron, Ryan Blaney, those two battling up front. Byron would prevail. Blaney would fall back. Christopher Bell, who at one point in time was a lap down in the mid-20s. It looked like he would be out of it, would be nowhere near a top 10. Rebounds back up towards the field with help from those cautions, now in race-winning contention. 20 laps ago, Bell's car comes to life. Byron was out in the lead. Blaney fell back. Bell passed Blaney, and then Bell was charging up to Byron, and Bell would end up passing Byron. And then in the final few laps, Blaney, who was really good on the long run, his car started to come to life. He was back at 4th place, I believe, drove his way up to 2nd place, and it looked as though that he would catch up to Christopher Bell, but didn't have enough time, and in the end, he started to fall off, and Christopher Bell would hold on to win at Homestead for his 2nd win of 2023, I believe his 6th career Cup Series win. And for the 2nd year in a row, he will now advance into the championship 4 in Phoenix. So Bell wins, Blaney is 2nd. How about Tyler Reddick in the Hamburglar car? Great run for him in 3rd place, started 3rd, finished 3rd. William Byron in 4th. AJ Allmendinger, non-existent the entire race, somehow comes in with the top 5 finish. Bubba Wallace, who really struggled, was even as far back as to just outside the top 20 at one point in time. His car was just on ice virtually the entire time. He rebounds for a great 6th place run. Ty Gibbs, another top 10 run for him. Joey Logano, how about Eric Almirola? Top 10 for him in the 9th place. And Austin Dillon, a much needed 10th place finish for him. Kevin Harvick in his final race at Homestead comes home 11th. Austin Cindric in 12th. Ryan Preece, good run for him in 13th. Eric Jones, Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch, Alex Bowman, and Corey LaJoie. Chris Buescher in 21st just had an awful day, was nowhere near the mark. I'm pretty sure he was the only playoff driver to not score any stage points in this race today. A couple of other notables, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who spun early in the race. Brad Keselowski, he started off strong, but then fell off. I believe he had some mechanical issues in the middle of the race. Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, 29th and 30th. Ross Chastain involved in that crash with 44 to go in 31st. John Hunter Nemechek, 32nd. Kyle Larson, 34th, and Harrison Burton had an overheating issue, finishes in dead last. And now let's take a look at the round of 8 with one race to go at Martinsville. Here's a look at the playoff grid to the left of your screen. So Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson, they're the only 2 drivers that are safe. They know they will race for a title in 2 weeks' time. William Byron, the first one not locked in, but he does have a 30-point advantage, which, yeah, that's a good amount, but certainly by no means is he safe. At the moment, Ryan Blaney, what a day for him. Even though he didn't get the win, he did what he needed to do, went from below the cut line to now being the last driver in at plus 10 ahead of Tyler Reddick. Teammates Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin, they entered into this race both plus 2. Now both leave this race minus 17 apiece, and Christopher Bell, or Chris Buescher, I should say, he basically has to win, or at the very least needs some insane luck, minus 43. So yeah, again, my thoughts on this race, I loved it. The first half was typical Homestead, nothing out of the ordinary, some comers and goers, some solid stuff happened, but that second half, it's like a light switch. Racing just intensified. I love this race, especially from the second half on. I thought this was a very solid 7.5 out of 10. I thought this was miles better than what Phoenix will be. Mark my words, Phoenix will be nothing like this race. And I said this at the beginning. If NASCAR, if you want all of us to pitch in $1, I will do that. I will pitch in $1.50 if I have to make sure that Homestead gets renovations, whatever it needs to become the championship race once again. I don't care about your lit up cactus farm that you got in the flag stand, whatever. I don't care about that. Homestead Miami Speedway over I will put up against almost any other racetrack in NASCAR right now. It is the perfect racetrack and it's the perfect place. If you're gonna have a championship race, Miami is the place to do it, not Phoenix. As for some of the drivers I mentioned, Truex, I mean, one top 10 finish. Actually, no. One top 15 finish in this entire playoff so far. Now he's minus 17. He's going to a track where he has won before. I believe he's won twice at Martinsville, but if he can somehow make the playoffs, it'd be a miracle. Shocking, I say that about the regular season champion. Denny Hamlin, another driver that looked as though that he'd be safe, but now again enters into the round of 8 in basically crunch time. 17 points is, it's nothing big. You can make that up in 2 stages, but it's going to be tough for that 11 and 19 team to do. Like I said, Chris Buescher basically a must-win position. And yeah, I mean, Bell, that 20 team, for some reason, when the playoffs begin, they are on it. Larson, I'm sorry. Can we just show it one more time? I'm sorry. This is why I love NASCAR. You have no idea what's going to happen. But those are my thoughts on this race. Let me know what you thought of in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you not? Until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Thank you so much for watching. Congratulations to Christopher Bell, your winner at Homestead Miami Speedway.